Have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Football is back, and we're excited to start the season off big at the BetMGM Sportsbook at Tin Lizzie. Watch all your favorite teams battle it out in our comfortable and spacious sports lounge. Don't miss a second of the action with our brand new Listen Everywhere audio system and get audio streamed directly to your headphones. Parlay a college football bet this season and you could win a chance to see the Iowa Hawkeyes play the Nebraska Cornhuskers live in person. So come on into South Dakota's #1 sportsbook at Tin Lizzie, where it's always game on.
This isn't just the sound of a legendary Brunswick pool table. It's the sound of families about to make memories together. And while this may sound like the hum of a spa, listen closely and you'll hear backyard fun for years to come. So while Splash City's guarantee of quality sure sounds good, we know quality time sounds even better.
Who wants another burger?
Splash City, 1024 West Omaha, across from Connects in Rapid City.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
We are Fox Sports! And here's what you need to know.
Guard Damian Lillard tweeted today that he's excited for his next chapter, and that next chapter will be with the Milwaukee Bucks after a reported 3-team trade went down that has the Trailblazers trading Lillard to the Milwaukee Bucks in a deal that also includes the Phoenix Suns. In the tweet, Lillard said, quote, "The casuals won't be addressed, but the Trailblazers fans and city of Portland that I love truly will be, and they will be addressed truthfully. Stay tuned," but saying he is excited for his next chapter in Milwaukee. Going to Portland as part of the deal were Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, pick swaps from Milwaukee in 2028 and 2030, and an unprotected first-round pick from Milwaukee in 2029. Phoenix gets Yusuf Nurkic, Grayson Allen, Nazir Little, and Keon Johnson. In the NFL, Packers tackle David Bakhtiari out tomorrow night against the Lions. Aaron Jones and Christian Watson questionable. Diamondbacks beat the White Sox 3-0.
It's time for South Dakota's Sports Talk Show. This is the Nate Brown Show, featuring live callers, live interviews, and thought-provoking sports talk. From the biggest national names to the hottest local stories. Welcome to the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Here's your host, Nate Brown.
And welcome in on a Wednesday. It is a wild Wednesday today. Can we make this happen? We're going to bump up a lot of stuff today, so we got a lot to get to. Let's get after it. Hey, thanks for being here on Fox Sports Rapid City. It's always a great day in the Black Hills. You know that, and the Nate Brown Show is back. We're live 4 to 6 this wild Wednesday. Why is it? We're going to bump up some stuff. Thursday happy hour is normal. But we're going to go Wednesday happy hour, a little hump day happy hour. Okay, all right, we'll do that. Wednesday happy hour with Rob Kegron coming in studio. Live guest host coming up. Rob Kegron, always a treat to have in. We'll shoot around a lot of stuff. That's in the 5 o'clock hour. On the Wednesday show, we're going to go with Lee Sterling as well. So Lee Sterling's going to make his picks coming up. He's 32-15 this season, so he's a winner. Let's hear his picks. College, NFL, Paramount Sports, one of the top handicappers in the country. Live from Miami, Lee Sterling on tap. Mike Wall's going to join us as well, former Green Bay Packer offensive lineman. Packers-Lions tomorrow night. Thursday night football. We'll talk to Mike tonight, straight ahead. Talk about that matchup, the NFC North, and more. Mike Wall, former Green Bay Packer O-lineman. And down to Denver we'll go. Doug Ottewell's on tonight, senior writer, milehighsports.com, live from Denver. The Nate Brown Show brought to you in part by Black Hills Urgent Care. When it comes to fast, affordable, convenient care, it's Black Hills Urgent Care, proudly owned by physicians. Great clinics here in town, one on Haynes Avenue, also on Mountain View Road in the West Side, Bacon Park. Black Hills Urgent Care. No appointment needed. You can walk right in, get exceptional care 7 days a week. I always schedule on my phone before I go. If somebody's sick, my kids, something like this, I can get right in that way. BHUcare.com. You don't have to wait around in the lobby. BHUcare.com. Remember it when you're feeling sick. The faster way to get better is Black Hills Urgent Care at BHUcare.com. The Nate Brown Show inviting on You as well. You know that. 720-1067 is our number. Join the program, 720-1067. You can join us on the studio line. Also, the Barron's Wilson text line, open and ready. Direct text the show. We'll read those comments as they come in. Wherever you're at on that, 720-1067. Same number, direct text the show on the Barron's Wilson text line. So, this is interesting. I keep wanting to say this is Thursday. No. Rewind. It's Wednesday. We're going to have Brown's Best, Kearney's Picks. So we're going to do it all today. High school football picks. And there's some big games. I'm looking at it across the board here. I got Matt Kearney in studio ready to make his picks. We'll update our records here. We've got Brandon Valley and Pierre this week. You got that AAA matchup against the AA powerhouse. Aberdeen Roncalli pays a visit to St. Thomas More Saturday. So we got some big ones. And the 9-man game of the week, is this a battle? Wall and Harding County Bison. So Brown's Best, Kearney's Picks. That's coming up on the high school football front. I want to start with something that the national media is not talking about, okay? So the national media is not talking about it, but we have to discuss it here on this show. This is something that has never happened in franchise history. And I have to be honest, I have to tell you, I'm not an expert on this franchise, but I've followed them closely because of our vicinity to this organization. So I followed them closely. I root for them to win when they're not playing my team. So I want to see them do well. They've made some playoff pushes, like not a ton, but they've had some interesting teams over the years. But as of late, they have been at the bottom and they can't get out of the cellar. And people are starting to wonder, is this organization in pro sports ever going to be a contender in the postseason again? Are they ever going to be exciting again? And so they've done something, I just said this, has never been done in franchise history. And so when I admit I'm not an expert on the organization, I actually saw this stat last night and I said, wow, I'm surprised by that. I did not know that this never happened. And of course, I'm talking about who? Your Colorado Rockies. So I know we're going to get into football, and it's going to be football all the time coming up. But I want to tell you what's happened. The Rockies have lost 100 games for the first time in franchise history. And that's why I said when I'm not an expert on it, I thought, frankly, that the Rockies probably had lost 100 games before this year. just by the way things have gone, I just thought maybe they've lost 100 games. But they haven't hit that mark until this year. And that should tell you the Rockies have been struggling. They've been bad. There's been apathy amongst that fan base now. Is there even apathy amongst that ownership group with the Monforts in charge? Is there apathy? I mean, because people are saying the Rockies are just never going to get out of this. They aren't going to pay the big players. They aren't going to be able to get good pitchers because they play at Coors Field. So the Colorado Rockies are a lost cause in Major League Baseball. That's what I hear, and yet I've been hearing how bad they are, and they're struggling, and they don't have. They got rid of people at the wrong time. This is the first time they've lost 100 games. I thought this was like, honestly, I was like, well, they lost 100 games again. No, they haven't even been this bad. So this year has been the all-time worst year in Rockies history. And I think about this and I say, I can't hardly find, honestly, I'm going to be honest, do you see a bunch of Rockies fans walking around town? I mean, as bad as my Broncos are, you still see Broncos country around here, Broncos gear, people talking Broncos. Now, one thing is this, baseball's not as forefront, not at the forefront, not as popular, so I get it. But there used to be some Rockies fans. I actually thought, hey, this region, pretty passionate about the Rockies. I have a couple of people that talk to me on this show about the Rockies, like 2 people, honestly, during the whole run here. There's like 2 people that care about the Rockies, yet I'm looking at it back in the day. They used to have some popularity. Let's go back to when they started. The Blake Street Bombers, Andres Galarraga, Dante Bichette. I mean, it was unreal. Larry Walker. And then you had the run with Todd Helton. These guys, Vinny Castillo, this was a good time to be a Rockies fan. They were better when they were an expansion team. And so I'm trying to get a look at what's the real story with the Rockies. How can you be a better organization early on when you're up against the wall as an expansion team? They were more exciting back in the day with Bichette, Galarraga, Larry Walker, Vinny Castillo. They were more exciting then than they are now. Like, it's not even close. And now they're in an organization that should have a foundation. They should have scouting. They should have the whole thing put together where they could compete, and they lose 100 games for the first time in franchise history. So I said, somebody's got to be to blame for this. I mean, you have to think about who is the ultimate person that should take responsibility here. And I'm not going to be saying it's Bud Black. Bud Black's the manager. I mean, no baseball manager these days has any power. They don't really have any control over a lot of the stuff. They manage the team. They might make this call and that call. Maybe it costs them a few games here or there. This isn't Bud Black's problem. So it's not going to be a fix with a new manager for the Colorado Rockies. How can the Rockies go from a really pretty solid organization with some great stars and that passionate fan base in Denver? The Rockies used to have a great fan base. I think that has dwindled. I think losing culture like this and now getting even worse, I think the Rockies' popularity, even amongst their own fan base, is much worse than it ever has been. And so I'm going to try and find out, what can the Rockies do moving forward? 100 losses this year, first time in franchise history. It happened last night. There was 25,000 people still at the ballpark somehow on a Tuesday night at Coors Field. 100 losses, and so I'll ask you the question of the day. How did the Rockies get here? Who is getting the most blame for you? Okay? I do have an answer to this. Like, sometimes the question of the day is, might be this answer, might be that answer. Who gets the most blame for the Rockies hitting 100 losses for the first time in franchise history? A great baseball organization. It really has been. They've made the postseason run. Now, their division is tough. Their division, they're behind the Dodgers. They're behind the Padres. They're behind the Giants. The Diamondbacks have a lower payroll than the Rockies. The Diamondbacks have the 21st payroll this year, and the Diamondbacks, I think, are going to make the wild card. I think they're going to sneak by my Cubs, unfortunately. But that's the Arizona Diamondbacks. You want to talk about not a lot of passion. There's not a lot of passion for the Diamondbacks. That market down there, there's not a lot of passion. They got the Suns, and that's about it. NHL, not a lot of passion. Major League Baseball, Diamondbacks baseball, not a lot of passion. And the Diamondbacks are in much better shape. They're going to make the wild card. Lower payroll than the Rockies. Where are the Rockies at? You may say, well, they don't invest in the players. I mean, they just mail it in. The ownership, the Monforts, they mail it in. I'm going to tell you why I do blame one person on this, a couple of people actually, but it's not because of the payroll. So I'm going to fill you in. The Rockies' payroll is 14th in Major League Baseball this year. So where does that who does that put them in there with? The Rockies are 14th. That's top half payroll-wise. Now, you may say they're not spending the money the right way. Giving Chris Bryant, for example, 7-year contract, a boatload of money for Chris Bryant. And he's on the downside big time of his career. I know this, watching Chris as a Cubby. So they gave him big dollars. So maybe they messed up the roster. Maybe they messed up the salary allotment. Who gets the most blame when a team goes from just postseason, yeah, they're competitive, and now to 100 losses? The once proud Colorado Rockies are entering the Pittsburgh Pirates territory? Who gets the most blame on this? Thanks for calling. You're live today, and you go ahead.
Hey, Nate, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. What do you see on this?
Well, I blame the fans because they keep showing up.
You do. You do. I was wondering about that.
I've been down there several times, and over the last few years, and they've been lousy the last 3 years, and yet people still come and, I wouldn't say fill the ballpark, but I mean, they're in the top tier, probably in the top third of attendance in the league, I would say. I mean, whenever I go, the stadium's at least 2/3 to 3/4 full, so the fans apparently don't care. I mean, it's a beautiful ballpark. You know, weather's usually nice, you know, later in the evening when it cools down a little, if it ever gets really hot. And the fans keep coming out there, so I'm sure the Montforts say, heck, you know, why people are going to come here regardless of what we do as far as, you know, buying players or getting the best players in here. And, you know, they've always seemed like they get good players and then they let them go over, you know, after, even when they're obviously could really help the team over the long haul. Like you said, they don't want to spend the money. So I blame the fans. The fans need to quit showing up at the ballpark.
It's not a bad point. It's not a bad point. I was going to throw the fans out there as maybe a concern. It's not my number one, but I get it. Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thanks for getting in. No, I mean, that is a point where the fans just go to the games. So the Montforts who own the Rockies, they're saying, yeah, we're 14th in payroll. That's good enough. And is it good enough? They're just 2 spots behind my Cubs. The Chicago Cubs, that's a major market. The Cubs have $186 million in payroll. The Rockies, $170 million. So 186, 170. Not a huge gap. A few players here and there. The Rockies spend more than the Twins. The Twins are 16th in Major League Baseball payroll this season. The Twins are winning the AL Central. Twins are known to not spend a bunch of money. So I'm not going to say it's totally the amount of money, but here's what I am going to say. Who's to blame for this? To me, Rockies 100 losses for the first time ever. I'm going to say it is the owners. It has to be the owners from the Montforts. Why? The whole operation is bad if you look into the behind the scenes. Forget about paying this player, paying that player. Maybe it's a bad roster move. I know that happens. The Montforts haven't done enough to change the whole organization when they've started this slide. What do I mean by that? They got rid of a general manager 2 years ago. Okay, hey, we got to change this up. You know, we're on a slide. Do you know who their general manager is now? Bill Schmidt, who has been with the organization since 1999. He's been there the whole time. And the Rockies ownership goes, yeah, we need to change some things up. So you go with a guy who's been there in the scouting department and the vice president of scouting since 2007? He started in the scouting department in 1999. Was the vice president of scouting 2007 and then gets promoted to general manager a couple of years ago. When you have to change an organization, you've got to change the organization, not, we'll just kind of do this and hope it works out. The Montforts owning the Rockies haven't done enough to change the trajectory of the organization when it started to slide. Yeah, we got into some bad deals, so we got to let go of our general manager. Let's go with a guy who's been there from the start. I don't know Bill Schmidt. I don't know how good of a baseball guy Bill Schmidt is, but it's a bad operation doing the same stuff over and over, the same crew over and over. That's who I blame for the Rockies' fall. Let's see. 37% blame the owners, bad operation. 33% the players, they're not good enough. 30% the general manager. It is the owners. They set the tone from the top. They haven't changed enough, and they're just hoping they can get by. They're hoping they can get it by the fans. Will they? 100 losses for the first time ever for the Rockies? An expansion franchise that was much better early than they are now. What does that tell you? Ownership not investing, not changing, not evolving, not putting a great product together. Okay. Let's go to Brown's Best. Are we ready? Brown's Best, Kearney's Picks. We're doing our high school football picks today. All right, Matt Kearney's in studio. Let's get ready to roll. Brown's best, Kearney's picks. We got some good high school football games. How are the records looking?
So right now, you're 21-4. I'm 20-5.
Still close because we had the same picks last week.
Correct, yes.
Are our picks going to change? Let's start with our first game. It'll be Friday. We're going to have the early one on Fox Sports Rapid City from Sioux Falls. We're going to make the trip out there and cover it. Rapid City Central at Sioux Falls, Roosevelt. Hey, Central made some strides last week. They were competitive with Washington for quite a while. I mean, I got to say, that's good strides. I know they're struggling. That's good for the Cobblers to be competitive against Washington. Can they compete against Roosevelt? I think Roosevelt's turning it up a little bit. They didn't have players early on. Now they have players. I'll take Roosevelt 34-7.
So last week, Central was leading that game 6-0 at halftime. And then Washington, they were able to score and they got the win. So let's compare these two teams between Roosevelt and Central. Roosevelt, they score 15 points per game. Central scores 5 points per game. Roosevelt allows 45 points per game as Central allows 37 points per game. What is it going to be like over in Sioux Falls? I'm going to have to align with you, Nate. Give me Roosevelt 28, Rapid City Central 6.
Close scores that we have. Our second game Friday is from Sioux Falls. It's the Stevens-Lincoln matchup. Oh, boy. Sioux Falls Lincoln's the number one team in the state. They've blown teams away. They even extended their lead over number 2 Sioux Falls O'Gorman last week. Sioux Falls Lincoln getting a beat-up Stevens team. Stevens is still injured. I mean, they got some guys that are banged up. I was talking to one of their guys that are attached to the program. They're banged up. I'll take Lincoln there. It's not going to be great. 49-14 over the Raiders.
So last week, Sioux Falls Lincoln got the win against O'Gorman. Last week, 58-35. And Stevens, they lost to Brandon Valley 52-0. I'm not happy about this game. I'm not happy about the score. But give me Lincoln over Stevens 49-0.
49-0. Hey, game of the week that I'm interested in, this one over in Pierre. Pierre is undefeated, 11 AA powerhouse, 6-time defending state champion. Brandon Valley, 11 AAA. It's Brandon Valley at Pierre. I think it's the game of the week in high school football. Brandon Valley only lost to O'Gorman by 3. They lost to Harrisburg by 5. They've won 3 straight. I don't think Pierre's going to beat them. I think Brandon Valley's going to beat Pierre 27-22.
So Pierre, number 1 in 11 AA. Brandon Valley, number 5. The last matchup last year, Pierre won 43-34. Pierre scores 34 points per game. Pierre scores 44 points per game. How many points are allowed? Brandon Valley allows 11. Pierre allows 8. Nate, since 2004, Pierre is 5-10 against Brandon Valley. It's going to be Pierre next week.
Really?
It's going to be Pierre next week. Give me the Govs over the Lynx, 31-21.
Okay, Matt Kearney's trying to catch up on his high school football picks, so he's going to go Pierre. I go Brandon Valley. Kearney's picks, Brown's best high school football. Hey, we have a game Saturday in town. Saturday at St. Thomas More and Aberdeen Roncalli. Cavaliers against the Cavaliers? I've done these games back in the day. Aberdeen Roncalli's good. I think people think they're going to beat St. Thomas More. St. Thomas More maybe a little down. They don't have as many numbers. Still a great quarterback. Some great skill guys. Yes, St. Thomas More will surprise East River Aberdeen Roncalli 28-20, St. Thomas More.
So last week, Aberdeen Roncalli won against Rollridge Pollock 42-22, and of course St. Thomas More lost to Sturgis 23-13. When we look at how many points are being scored, Roncalli scores 28 points, St. Thomas More scores 20, and then Aberdeen Roncalli is allowing 10 points per game compared to St. Thomas More's 21 points per game. Since 2005, St. Thomas More is 2-4 against Aberdeen Roncalli. Their last win against the Cavs was 2016. Nate, take it easy, my friend. Take it easy.
Really?
Give me Aberdeen Roncalli 28, St. Thomas More 14.
Oh, we're going to have some separation. I can tell in our high school football picks. Last one, 9-man game of the week. West River Battle, 9-man game of the week. Hey, everybody out in Wall, are you ready? Wall's going to go to Harding County Bison. So it's the Eagles against the Ranchers. That's a great matchup. Two proud traditions in 9-man football. Proud traditions. Wall's just better. Harding County was the team that always ran to the Dome over the last 10 years. Wall's the defending champs. They're just a little better right now. Wall will beat Harding County Bison 40-22.
So last week, Wall won against Lyman 38-0, and then Harding County Bison won against Dupree 74-20. Wall scores 43 points per game. Harding County Bison scores 47 points per game. Wall allows 8 points. Harding County allows 11 points. Since 2021, Wall is 2-0 against the co-op, Harding County Bison. But since 2004, Wall is 5-7 against Harding County standalone. And then since 2016, Wall is 2-0 against Bison. So overall, Wall is 9-7 against Harding County Bison Ranchers. It's going to be Wall. It's going to be too powerful of a game. It's going to be a good game, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be too powerful with number 4, 9AA Wall. It's Wall 54, Harding County Bison 24.
54. Brown's Best, Kearney's Picks in on a Wednesday. Hey, we're bumping stuff up, man. Happy hour with Rob Kegron today. Lee Sterling's in from Paramount Sports. Matt Kearney's Picks, Brown's Best, we're in the books. Some separation in our high school football picks. I'm 21-4. Kearney's 20-5. And Brown's Best in the books. Mike Wall is next. We'll get it going with the former Green Bay Packer offensive lineman. Talk NFC North and more on the way.
Live callers, big-time interviews, and breaking sports news. This is the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City.
Black Hills Harley-Davidson is out to set records in September. Hi, this is Kelly Rang. I need to sell 42 Harley-Davidson motorcycles by Saturday night. Choose from a great selection of street glides, road glides, and the all-new CVOs. Pre-owned prices start as low as $39.95, including an 07 Heritage for $59.95 or a 2009 Ultra for just $69.95. Plus, buy a bike this week and we'll throw in free winter storage. With lots of fall riding left, see Black Hills Harley-Davidson for your next ride. Just off I-90 at exit 55 or check us out online at blackhillshd.com.
Here's your Fox Sports Rapid City forecast. Lows dip down to about 55. Tonight, under mainly clear skies, winds out of the south, 5 to 10 miles per hour. Daytime highs approaching 70. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Chance for scattered storms. Tomorrow night, lows level off around 50. Cloudy skies. Low 70s. Friday, warmer on Saturday, with highs in the upper 70s. That's your forecast on the Black Hills Sports Station, Fox Sports Rapid City. Currently, it's 73.
For more than 70 years, Consolidated Construction has ingrained their business into the community. When you choose Consolidated, you choose a proud business born in the Dakotas that understands every project is much more than a building. It's a community. It's your business launch pad. It's your hard work coming to life. Each project has a true purpose. Consolidated will work to ensure that there's a quality experience for all who are involved. Learn more about Consolidated Construction at onecalltobuild.com.
Customer service and knowledge. You expect it, and we provide it. As a general insurance agency, Fisher Rounds & Associates has aligned itself with the nation's strongest carrier networks, giving you the highest quality coverage at the best possible price. When it comes to claims or other issues, we handle everything so you don't have to. That's what we mean when we say we're at your service and at your side. Fisher Rounds & Associates, proudly serving South Dakota with offices in Pierre, Mitchell, Rapid City, Sioux Falls, and Watertown.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio, sales, service, and recreation, this is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show live. Fox Sports Rapid City just getting started on a Wednesday. Lee Sterling's on the way. He's 32-15 with his picks today, or this year. ParamountSports.com, top handicapper around. We get him on every week. Lee Sterling's in with his college and NFL picks straight ahead. Let's go to the NFL with Mike Wall, former Green Bay Packer. His podcast, On My Block with Almon Green. NFL analyst. Find him on Twitter at MikeWall68. He's here on the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Mike, how are you?
Man, I'm doing great, man. Excited for this game tomorrow.
I believe that. I'm going to go to that game here in a second, but I'm going to review a couple of things with you. You tell me, what as a player, what are the Broncos thinking after 70 points? Not incompletion. The first incompletion for Tua was with 9 minutes left in the third quarter. They could have scored an all-time record, but they took off the gas. What are the players thinking in that locker room?
I think Garrett Bowles probably echoes the sentiment as well as anybody could. He's been there for 7 years and they're tired of losing. It's sad what happens to some of these organizations after the Peyton Manning era, and they win a couple of Super Bowls with that defense, especially at the latter end of that. But the teams kind of fall apart and implode. And, right now you look at it, they got rid of Nathaniel Hackett, and they said he was the reason they weren't going to do well. He was the reason that Russell wasn't playing well. And they bring in Sean Payton off of, I think he was at the Fox desk running the NFL stuff on Sundays. And, to me, he has seemed like he's stuck in the wrong generation of Bill Parcells. This is how we talk about players to the media. This is how we interact with people in the hallways and in the meeting rooms. And it just doesn't seem like – it didn't seem from the outset that players are going to be receptive to that kind of thought anymore. I think that's an archaic way of going about business in the National Football League with these players and these brand-aware players now. But it just doesn't seem like that part of it's working. And certainly from an X's and O's standpoint, they're doing something that the players don't buy into because, Nate, you've been watching football enough to know that a National Football League team with National Football League talent doesn't lose by giving up 70 points in a football game if they believe in what they're doing.
Yeah, and so I said it on the show this week. I said there seems to be a disconnect with Sean Payton. And I don't know what that means, but you're kind of describing it. I said it just feels off.
Yeah, I do. I feel like from the jump, whether he's talking about his background, whether he's talking about how he's going to deal with Russell Wilson, whether he's talking specifically about how he's dealt with Russell Wilson, I'm not a Russell Wilson fan. I've been on your show long enough to probably figure that out. But I kind of feel like he's getting the raw end of the deal here because there was so much blame put on him. Nathaniel Hackett is kind of proven with the Jets now that he probably wasn't the guy regardless. But is Sean Payton the kind of – I just don't know now if Bill Parcells, Sean Payton – as much as I respect what he's done in this league, I don't know if that attitude and demeanor rolls with the guys that are in locker rooms in 2023. I just don't know if that's true.
Okay, so somehow if the Broncos lose to the Bears, do you think that teams start looking at, hey, we need to move forward here. We need to think about how we're going to build this now and blow it up. Do you think that happens if they go 0-4 and lose to the Bears? Because really – not much is going to happen the rest of the way if you're losing a game like that.
That's a great point. I mean, Hackett started 2-1, so this is much worse in a lot of ways. And I think the problem that you have now, Nate, unfortunately for Broncos fans, and I think everybody at one point was a Broncos fan, right? It's just a good organization historically, is that you paid a guy who the Seahawks were happy to get rid of. The Seahawks, don't forget, the Seahawks were happy to get rid of Russell Wilson because they saw what a lot of people are seeing now. There were some things that were happening, whether it's because of age, whether it's because they didn't have a good defense anymore, but he wasn't the player that maybe he had positioned himself as. He certainly did a lot to disservice to himself with having his own office and having his own staff and trying to be this kind of guy and the way he acts and goes to tennis games and just kind of acts like a person you don't really want to be around, like in the public. Like he's hurt himself from that standpoint, but strictly from a financial standpoint, they can't get rid of him. They're stuck with him, and they're stuck with Sean Payton. Like you can always get rid of a coach, even if you want to pay him whatever it is, $50 million to get, whatever the payout would be, you can get rid of him if you're the owner and just write it off. But you can't get rid of that quarterback because that money's not going anywhere. That's going to count against your salary cap for a long time. And I don't see any team wanting to take that trade because he's not playing at the level worth that contract.
This is Mike Wall, former Green Bay Packer O-lineman. His podcast is on my blog. Download it where you find your podcast. Let's go to the Thursday night football game, Mike. Packers underdogs at Lambeau against the Lions. How do you feel about the Packers so far?
Well, I think this is the first time Detroit's favored in Lambeau, 1265 Lombardi, as long as I can remember. And the Packers came off a game that every game is its own unique story, and so you're missing a ton of guys. You're missing a ton of talent on offense in particular. But your defense only gives up 10 points against the Saints team, which, let's face it, the Saints team, especially as Derek Carr goes down, that's kind of a cannon point in the game. But the defense plays extremely well. We give up another 7 points on special teams. You can't figure out what's going on there. But Jordan Love in the fourth quarter turns it around and really starts playing a heck of a good game against what I think is a really, really good Saints defense, and he's undermanned. So when you go up and look at this Detroit team, which is picked to win the NFC North by many people, including myself, I think they have an incredible amount of talent on both sides of the ball. The Detroit Lions, from just the rookies that they drew, the first 4 rookie draft picks that they got, I think they got the steals of the draft. I think they had the best draft by far in terms of what you're seeing on results on the field as of right now. I said that back when they drafted these guys in April. And this is going to be a heck of a good game, especially if both sides can pick up some of the injured pieces along the way. Because right now, it's like last week looked like kind of a second string team playing a second string team. And, I don't think anybody wants to watch that any longer.
Okay, I'm going to ask you about this matchup. Bills-Dolphins. Who's better?
Who's better? Oh, the Dolphins. The Dolphins are much better. Listen,
really?
It's tough to say. Yeah, Mike McDaniel is so refreshing in the way that he goes about his business, not only from an innovative standpoint, from a play calling perspective, but just the way he talks about football, the way he interacts with his staff, the way he interacts with his players. It's just a very, in stark contrast to what we just talked about with Sean Payton. Think about what Mike McDaniel's doing from not only from an innovative standpoint, but the way that he's changed the culture, the way that he deals with the media. Everything he does is just a little bit different. I think it's a very refreshing thing for them down at South Beach. On the other hand, I don't know, since Brian Daboll left, Josh Allen's not the same quarterback. And he's turning the ball over at a high rate. Now, he's going to have games because he's such a talented guy, and maybe he gets over the hump. But that team is now limited by Josh Allen, by the thing that makes them go. They never really had a running game aside from him. Stephon Diggs is, there's been bouts of frustration along the way here in the last couple of weeks, although I think he was happy last week. But if the Miami Dolphins turn this into a shootout and Josh Allen's got to put the ball up a bunch of times, I mean, listen, he scored a ton of points before, but it's just in recent history, you start going, there's a couple picks out there for him, and Tua's pretty safe with the rock. So I would take Miami with this game.
Dolphins are underdogs at Buffalo this week. Lions favored by 1.5 tomorrow night against Mike Wall's Packers. Thursday Night Football. I'm ready for that one. His podcast is out on my blog. Mike Wall on tonight. Mike, always good, man. Thanks for hopping on.
You got it, Nate. Have a good one.
Appreciate it. Mike Wall in tonight. His podcast, download it on my blog. New episode out. Find him on Twitter at Mike Wall 68, former Green Bay Packer offensive lineman. Did you hear what he said? Weren't we all Broncos fans at one point? Didn't you hear what he said there? What a great organization, a proud tradition. Weren't we all Broncos fans at one point? Anybody? Is Matt Kearney shaking his head? I don't know. He shakes his head sometimes. I'm just kind of wondering. All right. Lee Sterling's in. Hey, it's Wednesday with Lee, Paramount Sports. Handicapping college football in the NFL. His picks. He's 32-15 this season. He'll try and give us more winners next.
This is South Dakota's Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show, on FoxSportsRapidCity.com and live on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports Rapid City.
At Renewal by Andersen, they make the best windows and patio doors you can get. But they've also set the gold standard for service. At Renewal by Andersen, their signature service is second to none.
It's old school quality. It's this type of service doesn't exist outside of Renewal.
Renewal by Anderson's signature service, trust, respect, care. Renewal by Anderson. You'll be delighted like so many others are. Visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
We're all going somewhere. Going higher, faster, farther. Going in new directions, to new places. At Monument Health, we keep going so you can keep going. We're dedicated to advanced orthopedic care with the latest innovations, technology, expertise, and treatment. So keep exploring, keep making memories, keep going with Monument Health as your partner. Learn more at monument.health/orthopedics.
Update your home's flooring today and get 11% off everything. Now at Menards. Add comfort and style to your home with new carpet. Mohawk's stylish carpet collections deliver fashion, softness, and easy maintenance. Weston Plush Carpet features advanced stain and soil protection. Right now it's on sale for only 79 cents a square foot after 11% off. Good through October 1st. Savings are a mail-in rebate. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Save big money at Menards.
Hi, it's Colin Coward. Great to be in the Black Hills. Getting heard weekdays 10 to 1 on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM. Fox Sports.
Welcome back in South Dakota Sports Talk Show. We're live from our downtown studio weekdays 4 to 6 on Fox Sports Rapid City. Here we go with Lee Sterling on the Nate Brown Show. We're glad to have him every week. His record's excellent, 32-15 for the season. We've been telling you that. And he's ready to roll with the games this week. College, NFL, ParamountSports.com. Lee, good to have you back. How are you?
I'm great. How can you not be great when you're winning like that? So it's been a lot of fun. When you lose, I mean, you can have a bad week and go like 5-8, and you would think you just stole, everyone's money. You should be locked up. You win, quiet. No one, the phone doesn't ring, nothing. Get a very, very few occasional texts or emails thanking you. So got a lot of work done this week, and just want to keep rolling like this. This is a whole lot of fun.
You are winning this season, and you're trying to help people win. And then your Miami Dolphins, did they score 70 or something like that?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, and what a classy move to take. I love this coach. I mean, probably. Would you agree that half the other coaches go for the field goal there?
Well, I think they probably don't step off the gas like McDaniel. I mean, he's a Denver guy, He's a Denver guy.
Right, I know that.
Yeah.
I know you grew up as a ball boy. I'm very familiar with, and he's at a lot of like the Heat games and the baseball games. I was at a baseball game earlier this year, and he was 5 rows back where I was, and Eric Spoelstra, the coach, he was 2 rows behind me, and my wife was taking selfies with her friend all game long. So just nice. I mean, people coming up to both of them and asking them for autographs and pictures, and they never turned anyone down. So, I mean, what he's done with that offense, I mean, they're running sometimes the same play with 3 different types of motions or different formations, and with all that speed, they had the 4th. Jalen Waddle didn't even play in the game. They had the 4 fastest times of players that were running with the ball after they caught it, which is scary.
My Broncos need to find answers, Lee. You know this, okay? I mean, there's not much else to say. Okay, we're going to talk about the Dolphins in Buffalo coming up. I want to get into the first game here. Let's get ready to go. College. Notre Dame gave up the game against Ohio State. They're 5-point favorites against Duke. Duke comes out of nowhere. What do you see?
So, I don't know if anyone realizes this. After Ohio State scored, you know what the right play was to do? Not kick the extra point. You know that?
Right.
Just fall on the ball, because if the extra point was returned for 2 points, you got overtime. So it was lost in a crazy moment, but a great game, just like Florida State and the Clemson game was. I think there's a chance that there is a letdown from this Irish team here. And as good as Sam Hartman is, I think Duke's quarterback, Riley Leonard, I'm not saying I don't know what kind of pro quarterback he is, but his ability to run and pass, and he's an incredible leader. I think he might be a top 5 player in Division I football right now. I think Duke's defense is for real with Mike Elko. He can teach and coach defense. They're +3 in turnover ratio so far this year. Notre Dame Duke's +6. Notre Dame is +3. Sam Hartman played against Duke's defense last year, but Duke won the game 34-31 and sacked him 3 times. Duke is also pretty stellar, 12-4 against the spread the last 16 home games. This is going to be the biggest Duke game ever, history of their program, biggest home game. Wrong team favorite, Duke outright 23-20.
Wow, you're going Duke over the Irish after the Irish lose to Ohio State in a tough one. Let's go to the Huskers. So the Huskers have won a couple in a row. Wasn't too pretty last week, but they got it done and won it comfortably. They're 17-point underdogs. Nebraska hosting Michigan.
Yep. So I think it's going to come down to, can Nebraska run the ball some? 2 running teams here. It's going to slow down the game here. I mean, I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of possessions. Michigan's defense, really good, but they haven't faced a running quarterback yet. I know they're top 12 in all major categories, but Nebraska's run defense, 58 rushing yards or less all 4 games here. Colorado burned them through the air, but Michigan doesn't have that type of passing attack, in my opinion. Michigan is ranked number 2 in the country, but I don't think they're really even close to the second-best team in the country. Michigan wins 31-21. I'll take the Cornhuskers to cover.
Really interesting. Okay, 17-point line there. Huskers have been playing a little bit better. Let's go to the NFL. Thursday Night Football tomorrow. Lee Sterling's on tonight, ParamountSports.com. Detroit, Green Bay. Lions haven't been favored at Lambeau, I don't know, since when. They're favored by 1.
Greg Landry, I think, was the quarterback.
Really?
Sure.
I mean, you never know.
Eric Hipple, and they had Barry Sanders. I'm not sure. But the public's going to bet Green Bay. I really do think that this line's going to move some here. Looks like they're going to have a bunch of players, one of the top offensive linemen, Jones, Watson at receiver. Looks like they'll play one of their key defenders at cornerback. I think, though, the right side here is Detroit. I think the Packers have played the Falcons and Saints to a total score of 42-all. Atlanta's young quarterback never threw the ball downfield, and the Saints quarterback, Derek Carr, got hurt when his team led 17-0. So I think that Love is coming along fine, but he's still completing only 53.1% of his passes here, 69.9 for Jared Goff. I think it comes down to quarterback here. I like Detroit 27-21.
Okay, going with the Lions on the road at Green Bay. Green Bay trying to get back Aaron Jones and Christian Watson. So here's the NFL, I think maybe the game of the week. Buffalo's favored by 3. I just talked to an former NFL player. He says the Dolphins are better than the Bills, but Vegas says Buffalo's favored by 3. What do you see, Lee?
Well, 3 points is given to the home field advantage, and so what they're saying is basically even. But I agree with them. Well, let's first look at the weather. Well, injuries, no major injuries here that are going to swing the game here, in my opinion. Sunny, mid-70s. This is Miami weather. It's perfect here. I think Miami's running backs are better, more explosive. I mentioned the 4 fastest guys in the NFL last week when they had the ball. A couple running backs, a couple receivers here. I think Buffalo's defense is down a couple notches from early last year. Von Miller's not playing. A couple other key guys that they got back after surgery. They seem like they're a step slow here. And all 3 games last year were close. Miami won the first one, I think, 18 at home. Buffalo had more than twice yards in that game, but the other 2 games and the last one, I mean, Skylar Thompson was the quarterback for Miami. Miami only lost by 3 points here. I don't know how you go against a team that's that hot. I know the Bills have outscored the Raiders and Commanders 75-13 here, but when you dismantle someone 70-20 and put up 726 yards without your second-best receiver, I think Miami's the right side. Fun game, though. 38-35.
Okay, you're going with the Dolphins to win outright. They're 3-point underdogs. How about my Denver Broncos, Lee? Last game, Broncos are 3-point favorites somehow after getting blown away. Tells us how bad the Bears are, or people think they are. Denver's at Chicago and favored.
I think if they lose this game, we need to take a week off covering Denver. Is that agreed?
Probably. I think so.
1 week. Okay. So both teams 0-3 right now. This is the Super Loser Bowl here. But can you imagine what was interesting? I was thinking about this during the game. Vic Fangio, he must have been up there in that booth in the game, the Miami-Denver game. He must have been out of his mind. And then Matt Nagy, who used to be in Chicago for Kansas City. So I think it was bad situational plays, both teams last week. Do I think both teams are good? Maybe not. But I just think that the Broncos will bounce back nicely here. They did last year. They lost 51-14 to the Rams last year. And then they came back the next week and almost beat the Chiefs. Then they beat the Chargers after that. The Bears, they've lost 13 straight games in a row.
Wow.
Their most recent win was the Patriots in Week 7 of last year. They just have no identity here, and I think they're just farther away from establishing anything on either side of the football. Give me Denver here, 30-21.
Okay, I hope you're right, Lee Sterling.
If not, we're not covering Denver next week.
No,
so
that's right.
Just
That's right.
That simple.
You've been right a lot. You've got a Locktober promotion. You don't call it October, you call it Locktober. And by the way, you got a free play. The game you're throwing around, Iowa, Michigan State here, and the Hawkeyes are favored by 12.
Yep. We know they're not going to score 40, 50 points. We know that. But can they hold Michigan State to probably under 10? That's probably going to be the deciding factor in this game. You want to get Iowa, Michigan State, I will give it to you for free. This is a strong release for me. First 10 callers, get it for free. Just call 800-400-9741 to get Iowa, Michigan State. 800-400-9741. If you want to hop on board, we have our blowout special best bet. Last week we had our underdog play of the month. We had Arkansas plus 18. They almost won the game outright. They lose by 3. I have a game that's under a touchdown favorite. I think a team's going to win by 20, 25 points. You want to get this game, it's a part of my plays this weekend. Just $347 with coupon code SAVE100 for 5 weeks of action. One place. ParamountSports.com.
ParamountSports.com. Lee Sterling in on a Wednesday. Lee, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate it.
Okay, Nate. You be good, buddy.
Thanks a lot. Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. Locktober promotion is on. 5 weeks through Halloween. Only $347. He's had a great record this year, 32-15. By the way, he'll give you that free pick to Fox Sports Rapid City listeners. He'll give it. It's a free pick. 800-400-9741. That's the number to call Lee. He'll give it to you the first 10. Iowa, Michigan State. Hawkeyes favored by 12. 800-400-9741. If you want to make the free play with Lee Sterling, ParamountSports.com. All right, let's go to Denver. Doug Ottewill is on. Haven't talked to Doug for a while. Got to get him on Fox Sports Rapid City. Senior writer, MileHighSports.com. Will the Buffs have a chance Saturday against USC? What does Doug say about that? And Doug's been a long-time Colorado Rockies fan from the start. What is the Rockies' biggest problem after setting a franchise losing record? Doug Ottewill live next.
You're listening to the Nate Brown Show.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
At Renewal by Andersen, they make the best windows and patio doors you can get. But they've also set the gold standard for service. At Renewal by Andersen, their signature service is second to none.
It's old school quality. This type of service doesn't exist outside of Renewal.
Renewal by Andersen's signature service, trust, respect, care. Renewal by Andersen. You'll be delighted like so many others are. Visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
Cadillac Jacks is proud to present The Book, the newly renovated sports book at Cadillac Jacks Gaming Resort. Powered by BetMGM, The Book offers every wager allowed under South Dakota law. Bring your friends and grab a luxury cedar party table and surround yourself with brand new giant TVs playing all the NFL and college football games you want to see. Order your favorite brews and cocktails and enjoy delicious food from the new Guadalajara's Mexican restaurant. Experience The Book at Cadillac Jacks Gaming Resort. How will your bets pay out?
Are you thinking about starting or expanding a business? At Black Hills Federal Credit Union, our dedicated business lending team focuses on understanding our members' unique needs and truly wants to help them succeed. From the loans to get your business off the ground to the accounts to keep it running, we offer unique products with your business's best interest in mind. Learn more at bhfcu.com or text or call 605-718-1818. BHFCU is a member-owned, not-for-profit.
We all know life's busy, and if you get sick, you can get behind pretty quick. That's where Black Hills Urgent Care comes in. No appointments needed, no long waits, just fast, affordable care to get you feeling better quicker. Black Hills Urgent Care has 2 locations in Rapid City on Haynes Avenue and Mountain View Road. You can simply check in online at bhucare.com. That's with the letter U, bhucare.com. When you need care, see the team at Black Hills Urgent Care, the faster way to get better.
Talking with Brian at Anytime Auto Sales. Now, these Drove Light campers from Travel Light, they're an absolute gem of a camper, Brian.
They sure are, Charlie. We're very proud to feature these Drove Light campers from Travel Light. The materials and engineering in these campers is simply top-notch.
And they sure look awesome, too.
Yes, they do. There's no wood in the construction of these Drove Lights. It's all aluminum and fiberglass, so nothing to rot or mold. And of course, that keeps them super lightweight. These all weigh well under 2,000 pounds, which allows so much flexibility in vehicles to pull these guys.
So compact to midsize SUVs and small pickups can pull these with ease.
Exactly. A lightweight, well-built camper that has virtually everything you need. Kitchen, refrigerator, range, sink, shower, toilet, even an electric awning. Drove Lights check all the boxes. It's time to head for the hills and do it in affordable comfort.
Drove Lights by Travel Light. Now at Anytime Auto Sales, everybody. See anytime.com or at the corner of Highway 79 and East Minnesota.
Anytime Auto Sales.
Hey, it's Chris Broussard. Remember to catch the Odd Couple weeknights from 6 to 8 p.m. right here on Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, let's get back to Rapid City Sports Talk Show, The Nate Brown Show.
Hey, welcome back in. South Dakota Sports Talk Show live on Fox Sports Rapid City. Thanks for spending some time with us, checking in. We appreciate it. We're live 4 to 6. The Nate Brown Show, built by Consolidated Construction. They want you to know, they understand when they build something, it's more than a building. It's your business. It's your community. Consolidated Construction has ingrained their business into our community. They were born in the Dakotas more than 70 years ago. Work with somebody that knows each project has a true purpose. They get it at Consolidated. Start at onecalltobuild.com. Onecalltobuild.com for Consolidated Construction. Let's go to Denver. Doug Ottewill, milehighsports.com. He's been a long time Rockies fan. From the start, Rockies set a franchise record for most losses, 100. They've never done that. And I have to say, Doug, as I welcome you in, I'm not a Rockies expert, but I root for them when my Cubbies aren't playing them. So I had a longtime Cubbies fan, Harry Carey, Andre Dawson, going all the way back. So I'm a Cubs guy, WGN kid. But I'm following the Rockies. I root for them. They've had a great success in the past. They seem to be in a worse spot now than when they were an expansion team. I mean, this is something. What should fans take away? What do you take away from the first 100-loss season?
Well, I guess my first takeaway is it's kind of a long time coming. I'm surprised they haven't had one before.
I am too, actually. I thought they might have, actually, but no.
They've had some pretty bad teams along the way, but, you know, I think from a where do they stand, and you compare it to the first year that they were a franchise, I think, you know, as far as talent and what they actually have on the roster and, you know, whatever you want, manager, facility, all the things that make up a baseball team, you know, I don't know I couldn't tell you if you look back at their farm system back in '93 versus, they've got some good players coming up. I mean, that's to give them credit, they do. They're not loaded by any means. They're not like the Orioles that have a farm system that's just wave after wave, or the Dodgers that have the same farm system and money behind it. But I think the biggest thing that is different, vastly different, is the attitude toward the organization. Because in '93, you have to realize, Denver was beside itself to even have this opportunity to have a baseball team. And the attendance still reflects just how much people love going to a baseball game here.
Yeah.
But it's become pretty disheartening. And, 100 is just a number. They've had plenty of seasons that have been real close. But I think there is something symbolic about hitting that 100-loss mark. And hopefully this is sort of that, hey, we've hit rock bottom, we need to reassess. I hope that's the takeaway internally. I'm not so sure that it is.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. My question of the day is, who gets the most blame for the Rockies' decline? You said it's been a long time coming. I feel like the owners haven't changed. They haven't evolved. People say, well, they haven't invested. Well, they have the 14th payroll in the league. That's top half. It feels like the owners just haven't changed it up really from the foundation. Let's get an outsider to come in. Let's mix this whole thing up. Who do you think gets the most blame?
It's Dick Monfort for sure. It's hard to blame a manager, a Bud Black, who's dealing with a house of cards. It's hard to blame, to some extent, it's hard to blame a GM because he's just doing the job that he was hired to do within an organization that's not willing to do it differently. And you can't blame the players. Even the best player on the Rockies, which is debatable who that is, and that's never a good sign. They have no supporting cast. And you're right. You cannot say that the Rockies are cheap. At times in their history, they have been, but not now. They pay good money. They just don't pay it wisely.
Right.
And so I think the blame is squarely on Dick Monfort. And the biggest, sort of point of emphasis or reason for the blame is because he absolutely refuses to go outside the organization for any help, advice, change of plan, anything. And that's just been a consistent thing ever since Kelly McGregor, who was the Rockies president, going clear back to October, some of those, mid-2000s teams. He passed away, I want to say it was 2013, somewhere in there. And they haven't been the same since, because McGregor I think he had a perspective of, hey, we don't know everything. Let's go outside and get help, get advice, take input from other people. And I think Dick Monfort trusted him. But I don't think that, that relationship has ever been replaced. And so Dick Monfort basically trusts who he trusts. And at the moment, that's people within the organization. And unfortunately, within the organization is an organization that's lost a lot. And they just don't seem to go outside, and Dick Monfort doesn't seem to have an incentive to do so.
Yeah, the current general manager for the Rockies is Bill Schmidt. He started with the Rockies scouting department in 1999. So, yeah, he's been there a long time. All right, Rockies, 100 losses. Okay, this has been a rough week. We got to get to, like, the Nuggets and the Avs or something coming up soon, because Rockies lose. Broncos give up 70. Okay, Doug, I'll give you a chance here. I said Sean Payton is responsible. I feel as though, and I can't put my finger on what this means totally, but I just talked to a former NFL player too this hour on the show. I said on Monday, Sean Payton has a disconnect. There's a disconnect. I'm not talking with, who cares about the local media? Nobody cares about you and I, Doug. But there's a disconnect with the players. I don't see passion. I don't know. There's something not right with Sean Payton. I believe this. And then his defense gives up 70. There's no passion there. What's the story?
I think disconnects is a good word. I think to some extent there's a hint of arrogance in what's happening, and I don't think that, when you lose, I don't think that plays very well, and I think you see a little bit of that. But I think I don't know if I don't think the game's passed Sean Payton by any means, but I do think that you can't expect to walk in from the booth and make, let's just be honest, some really bad decisions. I mean, the decision to not bring back or at least replace adequately Brandon McManus, that's questioned. That seemed to be a decision that was kind of arrogant. The hiring of Vance Joseph, I mean,
that's a bad one. That's a bad.
There was a lot of people available, and I think you could have easily gone out and got somebody that would have been able to sort of, just guide the ship. Sean Payton's obviously an offensive guy, but that defense has been good for years, and I think you could have gone out and got somebody, let's say a Wade Phillips. I mean, he would have come in and let them do what they do, and understands defense, and would have, done a good job. And you're hiring a guy that's never ever had anywhere near a top 10 defense, a guy was essentially fired by the Cardinals. And
Broncos fans don't like Vance. They just don't like Vance. And you hire him as the DC?
And that's the thing, is that if you do that and you're right, well then, you are the smartest guy in the room. But if you do that and you're wrong, you start to lose that aura of I'm the smartest guy in the room. And at the moment, people don't forget who made that move. That's not a George Payton move. I mean, that's a Sean Payton move. And so George Payton, I mean, I don't know if he really does anything or if Sean Payton calls all the shots, but some of these types of moves are definitely, they've got Sean Payton's fingerprints all over them. And that's fine if they work, but they haven't. And so when you go out and you look like this, and the defense for the first time in years has been worse than the offense, then there's just a natural inquiry. What are we doing? And I think that's kind of, disconnect, I think, is probably a good word, because both of those decisions kind of stand, and there's probably more, but those are the two that stand out. They're the ones that people are sort of sitting around saying, wait a minute, we all knew these were bad moves, and yet they made them anyway.
Okay, so I'm not even going to go down the Bears game road here. I mean, it's an absolute have-to-have. The Bears have lost 13 in a row. I mean, the Broncos have to win it. If they lost it, I think you're going to have an uprising. You're going to have to get rid of somebody. And then I think people are going to say, well, let's just blow this whole thing up. So, I mean, this week is like Broncos organization. It feels like a big week for the whole organization, not just like, oh, yeah, we got a nice win. Let's see what happens. You got to have it. I mean, maybe the most must-have I've seen. Okay, so I'll circle back with you, Doug, on the Broncos. They have to win this week. The Bears are the worst of the worst. Last one. Do the Buffs have a shot Saturday? They got housed by Oregon. I feel like they have a little bit of a shot, but I'm worried about the defense again against Caleb Williams, big time.
Yeah, I think we're potentially watching the next Broncos quarterback in Caleb Williams. He's the best quarterback in the country, and I think that people look at that Oregon game and they think, man, that was tough. They were just outmanned and out-schemed and, all these things. And, really USC is better, at least in theory. Yeah, they're playing at home in Boulder. I think that gives them a little bit of an advantage.
Yeah.
I think that, the hardest thing for me, and it's funny because I just saw it happen, but I have a really hard time betting too big against Coach Prime. I mean, the guy surprised us the entire way. Obviously, last week was a bad loss, and he took his lumps and owned it and all those things. But would it totally shock me if they made a game out of this? I mean, I think the line is, 22, 23 points, something like that?
And that's why I think it's competitive this week. Last week got away from them. I somehow think it's competitive because I actually think Oregon's better than USC.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right. And I think that, pair the fact that they were at Oregon, I think that it does sort of, allow for a scenario where the Buffs can hang around. Do I see them winning? I don't.
Right.
But I just don't. I can't feel too confident in saying, oh, they're going to get blown out, because that just doesn't seem like. And again, it kind of goes back to the guys kind of surprised us the whole time. It's just not in Deion's nature to, kind of look at the spread, look at the lines, and say, yeah, this is not our week. I mean, it just wouldn't surprise me if a guy like that who got embarrassed a week ago comes out and has some stuff. And is that a very solid analysis? Not at all. But it's just kind of one of those things of, I don't feel too good about betting against that guy right now.
Okay, so San Jose State put up a ton of yards and a ton of points early against USC, and so I just relate that, and I go, that was San Jose State. So I think Shedeur Sanders and the offense has a bounce back. I think the defense still gets torched, but that means I think it's just more competitive. I think it's a shootout at Folsom Field. Buffs lose, but not going to get their doors blown off because I think the offense is going to put up points on USC, a little leaky on defense. All right. Doug Ottewill on tonight, milehighsports.com. Find him there, and he's here on the Nate Brown Show. Good to have you, man. Thanks a lot.
Hey, thanks a bunch, Nate. I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it. Doug Ottewill from Denver, milehighsports.com on the scene on Fox Sports Rapid City. D. Ottewill's in, and now it's Wednesday happy hour? Oh, I like it. Wednesday happy hour with Rob Kagron in studio. On the Nate Brown Show, it's brought to you by the Skybox, Rapid City's #1 sports bar above the Firehouse. You're home for Thursday night football tomorrow, Packers, Lions, and more. Hey, let's go to the NFL here. I want to start with this topic in the happy hour with Rob. Are you guys finally tired of this play in the NFL? Are you finally tired of seeing it? We'll discuss next.
Did you miss an interview or great segment on The Nate Brown Show? Just find The Nate Brown Show podcast and listen wherever you download your podcasts.
What's the next best thing to a new Toyota? It's a certified pre-owned Toyota from Denny Mental Toyota. Shop a nice selection of certified pre-owned Toyotas in stock. It gets better. Right now, get financing as low as 5.49% APR for up to 60 months on Camrys, RAV4s, Corollas, Highlanders, and Tacomas. Shop the area's best selection of used Toyotas and Toyota certified pre-owned at Denny Mental Toyota or DennyMentalToyota.com. $19.10 per 1,000 finance regardless of down with qualified credit.
The grand finale of First Gold Gaming Resort's 33rd anniversary celebration happens this weekend. Be here to win a share of $8,600 in promo play we'll give away through hot seat drawings. Then on Saturday night, we end the party with a big one, the $18,000 Golden Cash Blast, where you can win $1,000 in cash every hour from 5 till 11 p.m. or a whopping $5,000 at 11:30 p.m. We'll see you this weekend at First Gold Gaming Resort. It's where Deadwood begins and the winning never ends.
KIMM Rapid City and K294BT Rapid City, the Black Hills Sports Station, 106.7 FM and 1150 AM, Fox Sports Rapid City.
How many of you are making 5% APY on your free checking account? Yes, your checking account. Head on over to Highmark Credit Union and we'll make it happen. That's 5% on your checking account up to $10,000. Qualifications apply, but it's worth it. Whether you're looking for a high rate of return, cash back, or just basic checking, we'll make it happen. You can even get refunds on ATM withdrawal fees nationwide or a cool debit card featuring the Stevens Raiders or Central Cobblers. Learn more at highmarkfcu.com or stop by at any of our branches and earn big.
Get ready for the ride of a lifetime. Buckle up and brace yourself as you dive headfirst into the heart-pounding adventure in the Black Hills. Ignite your engine and feel the raw power coursing through your veins. The rush of adrenaline hits you like a lightning bolt as you tear through the dense forest, conquering every twist and turn with precision and speed. Tight corners, steep inclines, and heart-stopping descents. Your Polaris side-by-side tackles them all. Rally your crew and let the camaraderie fuel your fire. Together, you'll share epic stories of daring feats and jaw-dropping stunts. Unleash your inner adrenaline junkie. Let the roaring engine, the rush of speed, and the wild twists of the Black Hills ignite your passion for adventure like never before. Visit Four Seasons Motorsports and Marine at 1600 East St. Patrick Street or online at fourseasonsportscenter.com. Get your hands on the ultimate Polaris side-by-side for the adventure of a lifetime. Four Seasons Motorsports and Marine, pushing the limits of excitement.
Good Fun Radio presents Did You Know? Hey, did you know that in Japan it's good luck if a sumo wrestler makes your baby cry? Sad, but true. But if you're lucky enough to have this happen to you and your baby, put that luck to use. The South Dakota Lottery has 5 different lotto games with millions in prizes. There's a new drawing every day that could change your life because good fun comes to those who play. And now you know. Good fun. Must be 18 to play. Please play responsibly. Does anyone know a sumo wrestler and a baby?
Hi, this is Dan Patrick. Remember to catch me weekday mornings from 7 until 10 a.m. right here on 106.7 FM and 1150 a.m. Fox Sports Rapid City. And now, back to Rapid City's sports talk show, The Nate Brown.
Hey, welcome back in. The Nate Brown Show live on a Wednesday. A special ring to your Wednesday. A surprise happy hour with Rob Kegron in on a Wednesday. Presented by the Skybox. You know the Skybox, right? Rapid City's #1 sports bar. Firehouse beer. Great food. The wings. All of the good stuff. And the games. Right above the Firehouse, downtown Main Street. Skybox. Happy hour. Rob Kegron on the Nate Brown Show on Fox Sports Rapid City. Okay, Rob, what do you have to say about my Denver Broncos experience? What do you have to say? You've just been thinking about it this weekend. I didn't get any text messages from you. I appreciate the respect you have for me on a terrible Sunday when I'm watching. And I said I quit watching the Broncos. I rarely do that, but you know, you're a passionate fan. It gets frustrating. I mean, you saw this happen to the Giants where they just got their doors blown off. Not 70, but anyway, 40, right? And that was bad. I stopped watching. I went and mowed the lawn. I mean, that's how bad it was. I went and mowed the lawn. And then I had a Broncos fan on the show say, you quit on the team. You quit on the team. I said, the team quit. The team quit. So what do you have to say about the Broncos giving up 70?
Well, first and foremost, Nate, last Thursday I was on with you like I am most Thursdays. And then I left here and I watched my Giants lose to San Francisco, which I fully, and you and I both talked about this on the air, we fully expected them to lose the game. They weren't terrible. They weren't great. They were competitive at moments. Yeah. They were in it in the third quarter. I never thought they were actually going to get over the hump and have a lead in that game. I wasn't incredibly frustrated because I expected them to lose. I said, okay, they're on the road, short week, San Francisco, home opener. You can argue that the 49ers are certainly the best team in the NFC, maybe the best team in the National Football League. I wouldn't go crazy. I couldn't get that upset. I turned the television on Sunday morning, and I told you this. I didn't expect the Broncos to be competitive in the game. I thought that you should bet Miami. You should bet them in an alt line.
You did, yeah.
I was really high on Miami. There is nothing in my mind, and you and I are both great sports fans. You start to envision how games may turn out, right? You're not always right, but you can have a feel of a game. And I certainly had the feel of a game that was 38-13. If you want to push it, maybe 41-10, but never more than that. When I turn the television on and I see what's going on, score after score after score, and there was this great image on Twitter or X, whatever the heck they call it nowadays. I can't even follow these things. But there was this great image on Monday morning of this play in that game where there were, you probably have seen it, where there were about 5 defensive players for the Broncos on the turf.
Yes.
And all the Dolphins were standing up, and they were just running right through him. And it was
Into the
almost
end zone again.
Yeah,
Yes.
it was almost like it was Photoshopped. Like, there's no way all these guys are on the ground, right? And they're like, they quit. You exactly said it right. I could not imagine that they would have quit. And there has to be a certain level of pride.
Yes.
That you go out there, and the one guy I actually got a lot of, and the easiest thing for me to do right now is to pile on you, because
it's easy today.
What an absolute
served
disgrace!
it up for you.
70 points. You were the biggest disgrace in the league. I never want you saying a word bad about the Giants.
Careful.
You gave up 70 points. I don't care how good the Dolphins are. You gave up 70 points, and they should have had the record if not for McDaniel basically sparing you and saying we're not going to kick the field goal. But the one guy I actually gained some respect for after the game was Garrett Bowles. Because they interviewed him in the locker room. I don't know if you've already talked about this week or you watched it, but I mean, you could see the embarrassment and the shame on his face. Like, we flew all the way to Miami and we didn't show up, and we embarrassed ourselves, we embarrassed our uniform, our coach, our team, and most importantly, our fans. I gained some respect from him. At least he understood and recognized. A lot of these guys will say, it's one, like we got killed, we got to move on to the next one.
Yep.
No, you didn't get killed. You were embarrassed.
They were, and you don't give up 70, Rob, if you're an NFL competitive, prideful, making millions of dollars. I mean, these guys need to put in work. You don't give up 70 in the NFL unless you mail it in. That's what I believe.
Absolutely. I mean, think about watching the Colorado game against Oregon, and they were getting their butts kicked throughout the whole first half, and they still only gave up 42. Right.
And Oregon maybe stepped off a little bit, but they still competed in the second half.
But the college game lends itself to these kind of blowouts, right?
Yes, not NFL.
The NFL doesn't, and they still managed to score 70 points. You must feel incredibly embarrassed, ashamed.
I'm
surprised you're even here. I thought you would take. I listened on Monday. I thought you were going to take the day off, because that's what I would have done.
You look at my Twitter feed. I said, this is embarrassing, and I'm going to go mow the lawn. And you know what the Broncos have done to my daughter? She's in 5th grade. She's having to defend herself against all these Chiefs kids running around. They're damaging my family, to say the truth. Anyway, okay, let me get to this. I had to serve up the Broncos. Rob's in on a Wednesday, and I threw a softball to him. Now, let me get to this. So I'm watching these games last year, and this just started the last couple of years heavy. And now I'm watching it again. It's impossible to stop. It's an unfair play, and we're not going to put an end to it. It's the NFL quarterback push play. I'm watching the Eagles here Monday night, and they're doing the push play over and over and over. It's 3rd and 1. It's 2nd and 1. And it's a push, and they get it every time. And so on the short down and distance, you guys know they put the tight ends and the running backs, and they put them in behind Jalen Hurts, and they push him over. And then all the other teams are starting to do it, but the Eagles made it famous. And so I have to say, are you guys still liking this play? I put it out to my audience, and I wanted to say, do you still think this is a fair play, the push play? 3 guys behind a quarterback pushing him over? What does Rob Kegron say on this? You can tell which way I'm going. Where do you stand?
Yeah, you hate the play.
It's a terrible play.
No, see, that's where I think you're wrong. It's not a terrible play.
It's an illegal play.
No, number one, it's absolutely not illegal.
Should be illegal.
Okay, different story. You just said it wasn't
It's an illegal play.
It's not an illegal play.
It's like using, you know why you can't, long snappers, they snap the ball. You can't knock them over because it's unfair advantage. It's the same story here.
Okay, I completely agree with you in principle. Because, and in fact, the Sunday night game, the Raiders and Steelers game, they called a leverage play against the Steelers who were trying to block a field goal. I'm all for, if you want to make the parallel, that it's essentially leverage, right? Now, I don't think it has the same risk of getting someone hurt as it is pushing the long snapper over and getting through him. I really don't. That long snapper is very vulnerable at that point to get hurt in that kind of play.
What about the quarterback? What about a headhunter? If I'm a linebacker one of these times, I'm going to be a headhunter. I'm going to dive over the pile. I'm going to take somebody's head off, and then everybody's going to be upset.
They do that regularly anyway. I mean, what's the defensive back's name for the Broncos that keeps getting called for these terrible headhunting plays?
Kareem Jackson, but he doesn't do that. Somebody might have to. It's a dangerous play. and it's an unfair play. It's like, forward progress, Rob? That's the reason we have forward progress. It's because guys run into each other. They should, forward progress stopped. I can't get a running start from a tight end and a running back behind me to a standalone defensive lineman. I can't have it.
So I don't think it's as dangerous a play as you think it is, but I do think it is an unfair play. It literally gives the offense a tremendously unfair advantage, because if you think about like 4th and 1 or 4th and inches, and obviously the offense is highly favored or highly probable to make a first down from 4th and 1 or less. But when they have that play, it's a virtual certainty. It would be, I would argue that it would be like the old extra point, right? The extra point that used to be snapped from the 1 or 2 yard line, and it was like a 21-yard kick.
Yes.
That was like a 99.4% play. I would bet if we looked at the stats, 4th and 1 or less, or 3rd and 1 or less with a push play is probably converting maybe 96% of the time. And so in that way, I think it is unfair, and I do think they should change the rule. Am I tired of it? I don't know that I am. I think it literally is
play the Eagles. You'll get really tired of it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to play them twice. The Giants always play them twice every year. I think it's conducive to these kind of quarterbacks, which is where the game has gone. And I think that's probably why they've allowed it for this many years. The game has gone to this mobile running quarterback who's doing a lot of those kind of plays. And I would be completely on board with making it illegal. Am I tired of it? No. I think defenses need to find ways to stop it, and if they can't
stop it,
well then
it's impossible.
Well, then call it. Then let's make it a penalty. Call it leverage on the offensive side as opposed to the defensive side.
We used to remember, Rob, you've been around, I've been around. There used to be where a running back's going. This is not the push play, but he's going, and then the offensive lineman pushes him forward. That used to be illegal. They used to not allow that.
Yep.
We started allowing that. I couldn't tell you the year we started it, but I remember watching the NFL, offensive linemen pushing guys forward. No. Whistle dead. He's here. You can't just keep pushing a guy down with 4 offensive linemen. And now we allow that. You get offensive linemen, the big hogs who love taking people's heads off and diving into piles, and they push guys forward. Same principle here. We're allowing that, and now we allow the push play still. I say it's this. It's allowing an unfair advantage, just as though we wouldn't allow plowing over a center, a long snapper, but we allow this. You got center, quarterback, running back, tight end. You got 4 players against what? A D tackle or 2?
Yep.
And I'm not going to have it. By the way, let's see what the audience says. I hate it. But the audience says, again, 64% are fine with it. 64%. I threw this out last season. Should it be banned? 60% said no. What am I missing? We just want the offense to keep the ball?
That's what the NFL is now. It's offense, right? Let's score as many points as possible.
Maybe that's what it is. And they're saying, hey, my team can do it. So if you don't like it, your team should do it.
Yep.
You should just join the crowd. I hate it. By the way, at least we have some great listeners here on the text line texting in. Offense has way too many advantages. Listener text 720-1067. The push play is illegal in high school and college.
Yep.
Yeah, because I was going to say, you never see it in college.
Never.
You never see it in college. We see it in the NFL all the time. Listener text, I hate the tush push. Okay, careful. Okay, I got it. By the way, the Eagles didn't want you to call it the tush push because they're so soft. They didn't want it. They say it's the Eagles' brotherly love. They say it's brotherly love getting them across. I hate the play, but they'll keep it. The NFL last year, Rob said, maybe we should look at it. They reviewed it, and they're going to keep it. I don't know why. Let's go to something that we're not going to keep. The college football playoff is going from 4 to 12. So the college football playoff committee meeting this week, there's 2 options that they're trying to think about. How should they put together the 12-team college football playoff? I think there's one right answer. We'll discuss with Rob next.
You're listening to The Nate Brown Show. Follow us and watch the show live on Twitter at Nate Brown Show.
At Renewal by Andersen, they make the best windows and patio doors you can get. But they've also set the gold standard for service. At Renewal by Andersen, their signature service is second to none.
It's old school quality. This type of service doesn't exist outside of Renewal.
Renewal by Anderson's signature service, trust, respect, care. Renewal by Anderson. You'll be delighted like so many others are. Visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
We are number one. So you can always be their number one. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The number one hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
It's time for a celebration, and you're invited to the Box Elder Event Center grand opening Saturday, October 21st, with a grand fireworks display, an array of delicious hors d'oeuvres, an after-party social with a DJ, a fun performance by Harlem Globetrotter alumni, and a moving keynote presentation from Rudy Rudiger, the former Notre Dame player from the film Rudy. There's limited capacity for this free event, so make sure to get your RSVP in now at thebox.live. The Box Elder Event Center. Think inside the box.
Black Hills Harley-Davidson is out to set records in September. Hi, this is Kelly Rang. I need to sell 42 Harley-Davidson motorcycles by Saturday night. Choose from a great selection of street glides, road glides, and the all-new CVOs. Pre-owned prices start as low as $39.95, including an 07 Heritage for $59.95 or a 2009 Ultra for just $69.95. Plus, buy a bike this week and we'll throw in free winter storage. With lots of fall riding left, see Black Hills Harley-Davidson for your next ride. Just off I-90 at exit 55 or check us out online at blackhillshd.com.
Whether you run the race, make the catch, cast a line, pitch a tent, or just look good doing it, Shields Rapid City has your gear. From athletic clothing from your favorite team, cold weather gear to keep you warm, to the best camping selection this side of the Black Hills, and the most stylish and functional women's outerwear and footwear. Shields has the widest selection of the best brands in the business. So when you're ready to get out, get in the game, or get going, get to Shields. Shields, we're right there with you at Rushmore Crossing in Rapid City.
Are you thinking about a new home or owning your first home in the Black Hills? The local bank positioned to help you through every step of the process is Black Hills Community Bank. With local originators, underwriting, processing, and closings, Black Hills Community Bank is your full-service home loans bank. Black Hills Community Bank is ready to help you take the first step into your new home. Explore your options with Black Hills Community Bank in Rapid City and Spearfish. Online at bhcbank.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show, live Fox Sports Rapid City, 106.7 FM, 1150 AM on the radio side. You can get the show a lot of ways, foxsportsrapidcity.com. Live stream is from Dan Patrick to Colin Cowherd to Doug Gottlieb in the Nate Brown Show, 4 to 6, foxsportsrapidcity.com. Watch the show live. Welcome in studio on YouTube, The Nate Brown Show, and X, Twitter, at Nate Brown Show. Watch the live stream. Thursday Happy Hour brought to you by the Skybox. This turned into Wednesday Happy Hour brought to you by the Skybox. But that means Thursday Night Football. Rob will be ready to go tomorrow. Packers, Lions tomorrow, Thursday Night Football at the Skybox right above the Firehouse. We're going to get to our picks of the week coming up and a new segment here on Happy Hour on the Nate Brown Show. Who is better? This is a new segment. So I'm going to take teams that are similar records, bad and good. But who's better? We'll run through like 6 scenarios, okay? Guess what? The Broncos are included. Guess what? The Vikings are included. Somebody's got to win. The Vikings or the Broncos this week, right? Careful, Rob, before you start. Careful. Okay, let's get to this college football playoff really quick, and then we'll get to who's better and take our picks out of the teams in the mix. So, College Football Playoff Committee meeting this week, and they're trying to find out, how do we do the 12-team playoff next year, 2024? How do we do this 12-team playoff? Because we've always had 4. Everybody argues about it and the whole thing. I agree to go to 12. You like 12.
Yeah,
right?
I love it.
Okay, so we're going to 12. More teams, more games that matter. I think most college football fans love it. There's a few that say it's going to devalue the regular season and you can lose once or twice and still make the playoff. I want more games that matter. So the bowl games that we don't care about today, we will care about. It turns into a playoff. So 12 teams are going to the playoffs next year. The committee said we had a great plan. It was going to be the 6 conference champions that were highest ranked. So you're going to have the group of 5 or the Power 5 and then 1 group of 5. So you're going to have 6 conference champs, 6 at large, and it would be perfect. The Pac-12 has dissolved, and so now they're in this spot. And they actually had a meeting this week, and they said, we don't know what to do. They said there's a couple of options here. So reports are coming out. The committee said, we don't know what to do. We're going to wait. The report that comes out from journalists covering it this week said, here's what they're looking at. One option is going the top 12 ranked teams and just going 1 through 12, seeding them. Here's the rankings. That could mean 6 from the SEC. that could mean 4 from the Big Ten and 2 at large. That's top 12 ranked teams. That's one option. The other one, they'll stick with 5 conference champions, but it would be the major 4. Big 12, ACC, Big 10, SEC. So there's 4. A group of 5 conference champ that's highest ranked. So there's your 5th. And then they'd go the next highest ranked 7 teams. So you're following me here. You either go include the conference champions and then the at-large ranked teams, or you just go, it doesn't matter conference. We think Oregon's really good. We think Washington's really good, but we like Ohio State and we like Penn State. Boy, there's 4 already from the Big Ten. Now throw in Michigan, there's 5. That's how some people are saying this could go. What's your read on it? If you're looking at 12 playoff field, how would you do it?
Well, Nate, honestly, I think when you come at it from conference championships, I think those 4 now, like these mega conferences that we have that you described, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, ACC, how on earth are those champions not in, right? I think running the gauntlet of those conferences through a regular season in college football has to get you into the if you're going to have 12 teams in the college playoff. I'm starting to equate this a little bit like the NCAA basketball tournament, right? All of the conference winners get a bid into there.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't think that should happen in football since we only have 12 spots. But how do the top 4 not get in? If the ACC has it, let's just say that's the easiest one to pick off, right? If the ACC has a down year, shouldn't their conference champion still get in? Yeah, I absolutely believe that their conference champion should still get in. So that's 4 spots. Now, when it comes to this extra spot, right? If we take, like they're proposing 5 conference champions, the Big 4 plus one of the other conferences.
Yeah, whoever's highest ranked. Maybe that's the Mountain West. Maybe it's the Sun Belt. Whoever it is.
See, I would say yes, except that they have to be ranked at the very least within the top 20 in the nation, right? You can't take one of those conference champions and their best one is ranked 23rd in the nation. Do we really?
You don't want David to join the party? David against the Goliaths? You don't want the Wyoming Cowboys to join the party if they win the Mountain West?
Not if they're the 29th team ranked in the country. No, I do not. If the
You're going to leave it up to the smart rankers?
Well,
not the winners?
What I'm going to say is we're going to reward you for being not just the best in your conference, but being nationally ranked, nationally recognized as a solid team. And I don't think you need to be in the top. My concession is I don't think you need to be in the top 12 because I do think the rankings can be a bit biased.
I don't want to do top 12. That's what I'm saying. I can't do that.
Can we agree that they should be ranked in the top 25 for them to make the playoff? That
yeah,
there's some baseline,
I think so.
Right? That you can't be, we won our conference, but we're 27th in the nation. Well, you're not that good.
I think more than likely if you go Power 4 and then you take the highest ranked conference champion after that, you're going to have top 25, more than likely.
More than likely.
Right? Somebody, whether it's Boise State, whoever it is, Mountain West, Sun Belt, whoever, AAC, somebody's going to be in the top 25. So I'm with you. I would go the conference champion route. I just don't want to go the top 12 because I know how this can go. I don't want to see Big Ten versus SEC every game. You're going to end up with the Final Four, Big Ten, SEC. I hate to break it to you, but I'd like to see a little bit of parity. I'd like to see some different teams in there. Let's say the Colorado Buffaloes keep rising. Hey, let's say the Buffs make it into this scenario. Maybe they get knocked off by USC. I want a chance for the Buffs to be in the top 12, even if they're potentially not a team that's SEC Big Ten, because you're going to end up going this way. If you just go top 12, Rob, you're going to have a lot of SEC, a lot of Big Ten. That's my feeling.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's kind of the way they're starting to design this. And the one thing I'd say, Nate, I don't, in theory, I don't disagree with what you're saying. Have the highest ranked, of the other conferences. But if we're being honest with each other, I don't think this lasts very long either, right? We're headed. So I'm not saying it's not worth it, but we're headed in a completely different direction. Those 4 conferences, the one thing that they don't want to see is the little guy, right?
Yes.
They don't want to see that little guy go into their house, beat them, and now they get knocked off in the playoff and they're out of it. They're going to do their bet. Georgia doesn't mind losing to Michigan, right? They understand that they're going to lose to Michigan times. They don't want to lose to the San Diego States of the world.
No,
they just don't.
And that's why I think this other option's even being thrown around. It's like, hey, maybe we just take the top 12 ranked teams, because then you don't have to worry about somebody crashing the party. I hope they don't go down that route. The report out today from the College Football Playoff Committee, everybody is the favorite is 5 conference champions. So the Big 4, 1 more, and then the next highest ranked 7 teams. That's the favorite so far, the committee. They say they're going to wait. They said today, we might even wait till the start of next season. I'm like, nah, let's get it done before that. College football landscape changing. I hope they keep the conference affiliation champions in the playoff and still get some of the other teams in the mix. Okay, it's the new game on Happy Hour with Rob Kagron. It's brought to you by the Skybox, Rapid City's #1 sports bar. I've got, 12 teams, and I'm going to ask Rob, and I'm going to ask myself, who's better right now? We'll start next.
From high school to college to the pros, this is the Nate Brown Show on 106.7 FM and 1150 AM Fox Sports Rapid City.
At Renewal by Andersen, they make the best windows and patio doors you can get. But they've also set the gold standard for service. At Renewal by Andersen, their signature service is second to none.
It's old school quality. This type of service doesn't exist outside of Renewal.
Renewal by Andersen's signature service, trust, respect, care. Renewal by Andersen. You'll be delighted like so many others are. Visit RBARapidCity.com to book your free estimate.
We are #1. So you can always be their #1. Black Hills Surgical Hospital and Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center. The #1 hospital in the nation for major orthopedic surgery.
In the past, if you needed auto body repair, you had to get multiple estimates and then try to get your car into a shop for repair. Well, not anymore. In most cases, you can stop by one shop, get your estimate, and schedule your car for a repair. The question now becomes which shop you choose. If you like quality, choose J&J Truck and Auto Body. They have ASE, PPG, and Gold iCar certifications that allow them to offer you a nationwide warranty. And they'll work with your insurance company so you're pleased with the outcome. J&J Truck and Auto Body, 1513 East Philadelphia.
Hi, this is Shane Griffin. I'm part of the Will Dixon Real Estate team. I know what it's like looking for a new home or your family's first home in the Black Hills. That's why I specialize in helping the first-time home buyer make their dream of home ownership a reality. I'm also a veteran, and I'm proud to serve military members in the Black Hills. Our team at Will Dixon Real Estate has great relationships with local lenders. Whether you're looking at buying or selling, just Google Shane Griffin Keller Williams. That's Shane Griffin at Keller Williams to take your first step into your new home.
The doctors and staff at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center have provided expert bone, joint, and muscle care to patients in the Black Hills area since 1976. Whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or just want to continue your active lifestyle, the orthopedic experts at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center will help you stay in the game. Don't let an injury keep you from doing the things you love. Trust the team at Black Hills Orthopedic and Spine Center, specializing in what moves you. Learn more at bhosc.com.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio, sales, service, and recreation, this is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show, brought to you in part by Spearfish GMC Cadillac. Remember, new cars and trucks dealerships locally owned. Kind of hard to find. That's one. Spearfish Motors. Not many of those left. Locally owned new car and truck dealership. Full line of new GMCs and Cadillacs. The GMC Sierra light duty and heavy duty trucks. Have you seen them? Take a look at spearfishmotors.com. Right there, under the big American flag in Spearfish, 1910 North Main. Spearfish GMC Cadillac. We are professional grade. Start online at spearfishmotors.com. Happy hour on a Wednesday. I'm liking this. I thought, let's put in a new game here with Rob Kegron in studio, presented by the Skybox on the Nate Brown Show. Skybox, Rapid City's #1 sports bar with all the big games and the best deals. It's called Who is Better? See how creative I am? Nobody else is doing this. I didn't see anybody doing this. I started thinking about this today. I said, hey, there's a lot of teams out there. Instead of saying, who's 0-3 that's going to make a run? No, I won't go there. Instead of saying, who's the best team right now? I want to go, who's better? And I'm going to go AFC, NFC. I'm going to put it all together. It is who's better. Take your pick. So let's go first with who's better, Rob Kegron, the Bills or the Chiefs?
Yeah, Nate, this is a really interesting one because obviously we know the Chiefs' pedigree. They played really well this past week, although they played the Bears. So, I mean, it's really hard to gauge what kind of performance that was. They played defensively, played very well against Jacksonville, although they didn't move the ball as well. And the Bills are 2-1, beating up on Washington and the Raiders and having lost that first Monday night game to the Jets. I think they're very close, but I'm going to give a slight advantage to the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs' pedigree with Mahomes, Josh Allen's a great quarterback, but we know he's prone to mistakes and big mistakes. Mahomes is not. Mahomes and Reed, even though they have less weapons than the Bills do right now, I'm going to say the Chiefs have a slight advantage.
Who is better? You say the Chiefs. As much as I want to say the Bills are my #2 team. My adopted son, Josh Allen from Wyoming. Josh Allen's my guy. He should be the Broncos. That's been the devastation of our organization, but I won't go there. I've done that too many times over the last 5 years. So Josh Allen and the Bills are the team. That's the team I'm rooting for after the Broncos. The Chiefs are just a little bit better. I'm never gonna doubt the Chiefs, and I can't stand the Chiefs, but the Chiefs are a little bit better, I think, than the Bills. Who's better? Let's bring in my Denver Broncos. Is Rob going to be able to go to this game? Did I hear this? Broncos, Jets. What is this? Early October, couple of weeks? Who's better? Right now, Rob Kegron, be careful. The Broncos or the Jets?
Well, first of all, Nate, back in July when I was looking at the schedule of which games I might go to this year, I said, Aaron Rodgers.
Yes,
and
perfect.
Hopefully, Russell Wilson's at least, 2-2 maybe at that point or something like that. Maybe even 3-1. Sean Payton, we got a great matchup.
Great tickets.
Oh, what a horrendous game I'm going to. Yes, I'm actually going to the game.
Okay.
I'm still going to go to the game. Nate.
Who's better? Come on. Be serious.
The Jets are a little bit better.
Oh, my God.
I mean, Nate.
Really?
Nate, you lost the game at home to the Raiders. You lost a game that you were up 21-3 against Washington, who got their butts kicked against Buffalo this past week. And then you went into Miami and lost 70-20. Now, I think you have a much, much, much better quarterback than the Jets do.
And offense.
The Jets don't even have a quarterback right now, essentially.
Yes.
But the Jets' defense is very good still.
Much better than the Broncos.
They have better running backs. And even though I think the Jets are in for a bad stretch here, they played competitively against the Patriots. They didn't play competitively against the Cowboys, but they still did in that first game where Rodgers was essentially out the whole game. They beat the Buffalo Bills. How could they not be a little bit better than the 0-3 Broncos when the one win that the Jets have is against Buffalo?
That was lucky. It was 4 turnovers by the Bills. That was served up on a platter. Zach Wilson's a mess. The Broncos' defense is bad. We're going to find out if Vance Joseph's still around by the time you get there in Denver. I'm not so sure, actually. It all depends on this week. The Broncos are better. The Jets are a disaster. The Broncos have had this anomaly. Washington game, 21-3, they lose it. 70 points to the Dolphins. Broncos are going to have a bounce back, and they're overall, with Russell Wilson, better than the Jets. I want offense because I don't have defense, but I want offense instead of the Jets' defense. So it is the Broncos who are better. Who's better? This is a big one. Dolphins or Eagles? Eagles looked good, I thought, Monday night.
Yeah, and Dolphins are obviously an incredible offensive team. I mean, they are a juggernaut. Something we probably haven't seen, maybe even, you could argue, since the Rams, like, the greatest show on turf, from 20-something years ago, how dynamic they are offensively. But I think there's a simple answer to this question. I think the Eagles are a better team than the Dolphins overall. When you look at their defense, you look at their coaching, and I think McDaniel's a good coach, but I think the Eagles haven't, up until this past Monday night, they haven't even looked that good, and they're 3-0. The Eagles control both lines, offensively and defensively. They control the game. They control the time of possession, and I think if I were to put these two teams together, I'm going to favor the Eagles. Even on a neutral site, I think the Eagles overall, defense, offense, special teams, coaching, all together, I think they're slightly better than the Dolphins right now.
Okay.
6 weeks from now, maybe not.
I'm not going to go there because I think I've been a doubter of the Dolphins, and I publicly apologize to the Dolphins fans. There's a guy who lives here in town. He walks his dog, listens to the podcast every day. He's a major Dolphins fan. I was talking to him. I've been disrespectful to the Dolphins. I'm a believer in the Dolphins because I saw them just destroy the Broncos, and something tells me they're way better than people think. The defense flies around. They might not be the Eagles' defense, but they're flying around. The offense is superior over the Eagles. Eagles haven't looked hot. They run it. Can Jalen Hurts play at a level he did last year, MVP level? I don't think. I think the Dolphins are a little better right now than the 3-0 Eagles. Both teams undefeated. Last one before we get to our picks. Who's better, the Vikings or your New York Giants? Now this is close.
It's extremely close, Nate, because the Vikings offense, obviously they have a lot of weapons. They can't run the ball for anything. Madison is not a good running back right now. But, I mean, Justin Jefferson and Hawkinson, and he has guys to throw to. And Cousins, for everything you say bad about the guy, he could throw the ball, and he absolutely moves the ball down the field, and he scores a lot of points. I think the Vikings are a mess right now, though. And I think the Giants, even though they haven't looked great, are a slightly better team overall than the Vikings
I stuck up for my Broncos, and I was just selling you why they're better than the Jets. And then you Rob Kegron. I thought he might say the Giants. It's not close. It's not close.
The Vikings are 0-3. How is it not close?
The Vikings are better. Kirk Cousins has the most yards, the most touchdowns in the league.
You lost to Tampa at home.
They've had 9 turnovers. They'll clean it up.
Well, isn't that part of being good? Is not turning the ball over 9 times?
They aren't going to get beat 40-0 or 70-20. The Vikings are better, surprisingly, at 0-3 than Rob's New York Giants. Let's make our picks next. Happy Hour brought to you by the Skybox, your home for football. Downtown, right above the Firehouse. Best place to go. Rob Kegron in studio. Our picks in the NFL, starting with the Packers-Lions, coming up.
This is the Nate Brown Show.
As a business owner now, Black Hills Tire has an interesting motto: one car, one customer, one opportunity at a time.
We just want to portray that every person that comes in, we're going to give you our undivided attention. You're not a number to us.
Every single individual customer, every single individual thing we do for that customer is what makes us.
Yeah.
Every time you come into our store, this time, next time, the time after that, every single one was an individual chance for us to earn your trust. Check us out at blackhillstire.com.
The grand finale of First Gold Gaming Resort's 33rd anniversary celebration happens this weekend. Be here to win a share of $8,600 in promo play. We'll give away through hot seat drawings. Then on Saturday night, we end the party with the big one, the $18,000 Golden Cash Blast, where you can win $1,000 in cash every hour from 5 till 11 p.m. or a whopping $5,000 at 11:30 p.m. We'll see you this weekend at First Gold Gaming Resort. It's where Deadwood begins and the winning never ends.
Here at Pizza Ranch, we appreciate innovations in food delivery, like how the ancient Italians used to slingshot hot meals to hungry Romans on the go. And while we appreciate the creativity, it turned out to be, well, a little messy. So, we found a better way to bring you our legendary pizza, the country's best chicken, and our one-of-a-kind cactus bread. Just place your order online, on the phone, or on our app, and then pick it up or have it delivered right to your door. All nicely packaged in clean, sturdy, non-flying boxes. No catching necessary. Pizza Ranch. Mmm.
Get away from it all in the great outdoors for lasting family memories with a new or pre-owned RV from Dakota Discount RV. We make your RV experience fun and easy by providing you with a quality recreational vehicle, competitive pricing, and professional sales and service. Our large inventory of fifth-wheelers, travel trailers, toy haulers, and live-in horse trailers allows us to save our customers thousands of dollars compared to most dealers. Stop by and see us at Dakota Discount RV, 3330 East Mall Drive across from Cabela's and on JB Road, Blackhawk.
Live from the Anytime Auto Sales Service and Details Studio. Sales, service, and recreation. This is Fox Sports Rapid City.
Welcome back in the Nate Brown Show. Glad you're here. A reminder, catch the Nate Brown Show podcast. Every show right there if you want to listen outside of the 4 to 6 time frame. You can't catch all of the show live. I get it. So we got it up there, the Nate Brown Show podcast on Apple, Google, Spotify. Had a good show yesterday. Mike Golick Jr. on. If you missed yesterday's show, you can run back and listen to them all. The Nate Brown Show podcast, where you find your podcast. We're on Fox Sports Rapid City Live. Happy hour on a Wednesday. Brought to you by the Skybox. Rob Cagron's in studio. Let's break it down. It's time to do our picks of the week. Before we get out the door on a Wednesday night, we got to do our picks of the week in the NFL. Let's start with Thursday Night Football. Lions favored by 1.5 at the Packers. I've been told the public's on the Packers. I was on the Packers last week. They slipped by the Saints. Slipped by. I don't think the Packers get this done. So give me the Lions. I guess I'll do the 1.5. It's that close. I think the Lions will provide a problem for Jordan Love tomorrow.
Yeah, I was on Green Bay with you last week, and I honestly thought they would really control that game, and they didn't. They got a little bit of a break. That Carr got hurt and came out of that game. They played. Jordan Love did play very well in the fourth quarter. But the last time the Lions went to Green Bay, you may remember the last Sunday night of the regular season last year, and they had nothing to play for. The Lions realized they had nothing to play for in that game, and they beat the you-know-what out of the Green Bay Packers.
With Aaron Rodgers.
I think the Lions are a professional team. I think you can argue they're the third best team in the NFC, maybe the fourth. But I think they're well coached. I think they will go into Green Bay, and they will. I think they'll control the trenches in this game, and I think they will get to Jordan Love as well. I'm going to lay the 1.5, and I'm pretty confident in the Detroit Lions this Thursday.
Okay, I'm going to give you this one. I've got some emotion in this, but I think they're going to bring it. I just told you the Dolphins are really, really good. They're at the Bills. +3. Give me the Bills, but only money line. It's going to be really, really tight. I don't feel comfortable on it. I think the Bills at home, they've heard enough about the 70-point deal, and I think it's going to take the air out of the Dolphins. Bills are going to be ready. Josh Allen's going to be ready. Take the Bills money line.
Yeah, I think, Nate, teams in the NFL sometimes need wake-up calls. I think Buffalo, a lot of times that doesn't happen to halfway or two-thirds of the way through the season. Buffalo had their wake-up call in week 1, right? Aaron Rodgers was knocked out on the 4th play of the game. Josh Allen was horrendous in the second half against the Jets. They lost that game. And since then, they have utterly dominated their competition. Now, this is their stiffest competition yet in Miami, but Miami has traditionally struggled in Buffalo. And you're telling me that the Bills are only a 3-point favorite? I think Allen might make a couple of mistakes, but Miami is not going to have the easy way that they've had over the first 3 weeks of the season. This is going to be a tight game. I could see this coming down to a late touchdown or a late field goal, but I'm going to take Buffalo, Allen at home, and the Bills Mafia minus the 3.
Oh, my. It makes me feel a little better. Rob Kagron's going the Bills as well. Okay, are you ready? Broncos, they're 3-point favorites at the Bears. The Bears have lost 13 in a row. I didn't even realize that streak was that long. Goes back to last year. The Bears are a mess. So are the Broncos. Russell Wilson's way better. He's got pretty good numbers. Have you looked? He's as good as Patrick Mahomes. Do I need to remind you of that, Rob? So the Broncos will cover the 3. It's desperation time for Sean Payton. Is he going to be a laughing stock? I don't think so. They'll win Sunday.
He's not already a laughing stock? The Broncos are so confounding to me right now. The Bears are a bad team. I don't think they're very well coached. But maybe they're...
Oh, no. Oh, boy.
Maybe their medicine is the Denver Broncos.
You might be right. I mean, honestly.
This is not so much I'm high on the Bears. The Denver Broncos have no business being favored against anyone on the road or at home. And you're telling me they're a 3-point... And I think Fields eventually... I don't think he's going to be a great quarterback.
That scares me. He does scare me.
We did see a lot, particularly in the second half of last season, where he ran the ball a whole lot and ran it effectively.
Look at the Broncos' defense. It's Swiss cheese.
I could see him running up and down and keeping this a ball game. And I think if it's tight, the Broncos will get tight. Take the 3 points and the Chicago Bears!
I was just waiting for it. What a finish. Last game. He's just doing that to troll me. Do you guys understand this? Please don't follow his advice.
I did bet on Miami big last week, just so you know.
Okay, Patriots 6.5-point underdogs at the Cowboys. Cowboys have to bounce back, but the Patriots keep games close. They'll keep it close enough. I'll go with Belichick and the 6.5. Patriots aren't good, but Belichick 6.5, I'll take that all day.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you. Belichick keeps these games close. His teams are well prepared. Defensively, they play well. I think this is one where they run into a little bit of a problem. If Dallas had won last week against Arizona, I'd be all on board with you. But I think Dallas's defense got a little bit of a wake-up call last week with how well Joshua Dobbs played so well, both passing. They ran the ball so effectively against Dallas. And I'm not convinced on Mac Jones still. I don't think he has enough weapons first and foremost.
I agree.
And I think Dallas is poised to have a big game, and I think Micah Parsons is going to go back to being a game wrecker. I don't love the 6.5, but I love it a lot more than 7. I think Dallas wins going away from this game, something like 30-21 or 27-17. I'm going to lay the 6.5 and take the Cowboys, and I do not like the Cowboys.
No, sir. Patriots are going to run it. They're going to run it on Micah Parsons. That's how you beat the Cowboys. You run at him. You don't throw it with Mac Hat-Rack Jones in the backfield. Okay, picks of the week are in. That's it for Wednesday Happy Hour. Brought to you by the Skybox. You're home for football all week. Thursday night, Packers-Lions. Saturday, Huskers-Michigan. Hey, there's some good games. Colorado, USC. That's good stuff. And then Sunday, your NFL headquarters. The Skybox right above the firehouse for Rob Kagron at State Brown. The podcast going up right now.
Trailblazers are sending him to the Milwaukee Bucks.